And now we do begin recording, folks. Welcome everybody who is here in person today and anybody joining us online. We are an open and inclusive congregation. Our members walk diverse paths to find meaning and purpose, but we are united in our belief in the inherent worth and dignity of all beings and our responsibility to express our faith through acts of justice and compassion. My name is Jim Price. I've been an active member of this congregation since 2019, and I've been a Unitarian since 2012. Our speaker today is the Reverend Pat Jobe. His sermon title is, What Do We Call Ultimate? With Pat, it is always interesting, it is always provocative, and it is always inspiring, and I can't wait. But for now, Pat has some opening words.
Our opening words are from Ebenezer Scrooge. I promise to keep Christmas in my heart all the year round.
Should have practiced. If you will join me in saying our chalice lighting words, they're in your order of service. We light this flaming chalice to illuminate the world we see. In our search for truth, may we be just. In our search for justice, may we be loving. And in loving, may we find peace.
Okay, I need all of the children who want to hear a story for all ages to come up here. And I want you guys to sit, if you would, right in front of this table and look back at the grown-ups. And the reason I ask you to do that is because with the exception of Tim Brown, the grown-ups like to look at you. They already knew what Tim Brown looked like. They want to see you. They want to see what you look like. I did say all ages, yes. Is that wire doing okay? We're good with that wire. Okay, this is a strange story. This is an incredibly bizarre story. How many of you know who Michael Jordan is? One, two.
These are Unitarians, Pat.
Right. All right. Can any of you name an athlete, a pro athlete, besides Michael Jordan? You know any pro athletes? Yeah. Who? Tom Brady, yes. Tom Brady, who's in Charlotte this afternoon. Hopefully getting beat. Probably not getting beat. Okay, all right. You know who Tom Brady is. You know who Tom Brady is? You don't know. Okay, all right. All right, this is not going to work. That's okay. It's okay. Because we're Unitarian Universalists, it's okay when things don't work. Imagine for a minute that Tom Brady is somebody you know. And imagine that he's a really good football player. Okay? He's a really good football player. He takes the snap from the center and goes back. He throws the football. Somebody catches it downfield. They get points on the scoreboard. They win. How many Super Bowls has Tom Brady won? Seven Super Bowls. Tom Brady has been the quarterback of some team. I forget the name of it. Okay, so now imagine. You ready? Ready to use your imaginations? Imagine 1,000 years from now, or even 2,000 years from now, they have a church of Tom Brady. People get together in rooms like this and they sing songs about Tom Brady. And they have little footballs that they wear around their necks on chains. Can you see that? Little silver footballs that they wear on chains around their necks. But nobody plays football. There are no more football games. They all want to worship Tom Brady, but they don't want to play football. How crazy is that? That's what happened to Jesus. He did not play football, no. But Jesus told people to love each other. He told people to feed hungry people. He said, make peace. And what did they do? They sang songs about him, and they wore little crosses around their necks. But they forgot about loving each other and feeding hungry people and making peace. You all can now go to your class.
Let's sing them out. We're going to sing. We're going to sing. Let's sing the children out. Go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere you may go.
Teresa, we do love Micah Alec, but that was really nice. That was really nice. This is a copy of a book that I wrote, and somehow it's ended up in the back room. It is about a dear, dear friend of mine who died in 2017. He suffered with muscular dystrophy, but he was a fanatic sports fan. He was absolutely hilarious. And several people who have read this book tell me that it's highly entertaining. Would anybody like to take it home with them? Attaboy. Tim, I knew I could count on you. Bless you. Bless you. And all the best with your retirement. I just got to spend about 45 minutes with Betsy Hampton. And most of you do not know Betsy Hampton. Betsy Hampton was among the founding members of this congregation. Unfortunately, she has a tumor on her spinal cord and is not able to get out anymore. In fact, she told me this morning that she's been in the house for a couple of years. And I said to her, would you like me to recommend that folks visit you? She said, oh, no. She said, I have plenty of visitors. I have nurses who come in. I have a woman who comes in and cleans. She said, I'm perfectly all right. So you're all off the hook. No guilt. No guilt. But she does love you, and she loves this congregation. And she was very happy to have the minister come by to visit. She treated me like I was the King of England. So I was most pleased, most pleased. Before I get into what I really want to talk about this morning, I want to talk about connections. It's about 75 miles over here. And as I drive those 75 miles, I like to take back roads. And so I drive by a lot of trees. And we have trees around us right now. We have trees out the windows. And when you look at trees, it's so obvious that they're all connected, right? We know that their root systems go down into the dirt and the roots head toward each other. And there's mycelium down there who are flirting with those roots and swinging around those roots and exchanging all kinds of nutritional information. And connection is so obvious when you look at trees. But it's not so obvious when you look at people, right? We labor under the illusion that we're all separate. We kind of go from the tops of our heads to the bottoms of our feet, and we think that's it. That's all there is to it. But we're all breathing the same air. We're all exchanging energy. And I'm so tickled that you all are here today. We don't know what's going to happen next week, but we're here today. We're together. We're connected. And if we had roots, they would be flirting with each other and exchanging mycelium and all of that. Think for just a second about your fingertips. Think for just a second about the living cell structure that makes up your fingertips. Millions of living cells in our fingertips, in our hands, in our faces, all through us, living cells. Each heartbeat taking blood to the extremities, to all extremities with every heartbeat. It's pretty wild, isn't it? Okay. So what are your expectations for the next few minutes? Will you be stimulated to think about things in new and different ways? Hopefully you've already been stimulated to think about things in new and different ways. I once asked a man in one of our congregations, I said, why do you come and be with the people at this congregation? He said, I come for intellectual stimulation. And he said, sometimes I get it and sometimes I don't. Bless his heart. Bless his heart. He's talking about me now. Will you feel loved today, here, in these next few minutes? Will you kind of vibe on the people who are in the room who love you? I hope so. Will you pick up a tool that might help you get to the next task, next moment, next thing on your to-do list? What are your expectations for the next few minutes? I've thought a lot about the question of ultimacy. Ultimacy. What's the highest? What's the most ultimate? And as I read back over the blurb promoting this service, it is striking to me that our lives are cast along so many different fishing lines. We go over here and we pull on this line. We go over here, we pull on this line. We go over here, pull on this line. We have different loyalties. We have different ways of getting out of bed in the morning and moving forward with the day. And yes, yesterday was Christmas. Woo! Isn't it amazing that some atheists celebrate Christmas and some Christians don't? Santa Claus is derided as a hoax on children, and yet Christmas morning comes and there are presents under the tree. Even houses without chimneys somehow host the red-suited saint whose belly shakes like a bowl full of jelly. What in the world is going on, and what might be the ultimate last word in this hurricane of confusion brought on by decorations, a full spectrum of awful and beautiful music? And the music we just heard, Teresa, was in the beautiful category. Wrapping paper, carols being sung by a choir dressed up like Eskimos. Jon Stewart used to make fun of the so-called war on Christmas, as store employees were trained to say Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas. He would point out that the Western world is awash in lights and trees and icons of this holiday, which is undeniably Christmas, even as a tiny group of people might object to a nativity scene on a public square or somebody standing at a cash register saying Merry Christmas. Object as we might to this apparent celebration of a religion that launched the Crusades and has failed for 2,000 years to feed the hungry, liberate the prisoners, and make peace. Christmas is more effective even than the Super Bowl at drawing the attention of most of the Western world to what is undeniably both a sacred and spiritual holiday. Sacred and secular holiday. And in the midst of all that, dare we ask, what is ultimate? What might be the final word, the highest authority in what we call human life? At the risk of being ecstatically presumptive, let me hazard a shot at answering that question. Ultimately, when we are sleepy, we lie down. When we are hungry, we look for something to eat. As intellectually and mentally sophisticated as we might imagine ourselves to be, we often operate as physical beings, not unlike the bears and raccoons that wander through the woods. But we experience the extraordinary cultural shift that occurs around Christmas. As we experience that shift, might we also wonder what else is afoot in the world, what else is calling us to itself in an ultimate and overarching sense. After all, Christmas does not feed anybody or provide a warm bed for anybody. There is something beyond food and sleep in these wild waves of cultural forces that cause us to wrap presents and join in on carols being sung by a choir. I've got a long meditation I'm going to read now. It's from a poet named Kathleen Norris, who acknowledges the exhaustion brought on by Christmas. The baking, the shopping, the working extra hours, rehearsing and presenting Christmas pageants. She believes that it is in admitting our weariness that we find hope. These are her words. It is not merely the birth of Jesus we celebrate, although we recall it joyfully in song and story. The Feast of the Incarnation invites us to celebrate also Jesus' death, resurrection, and coming again in glory. In our salvation story and in all of creation, there is an invitation to dance, sing, and feast. But we are so exhausted. How is it possible to bridge the gap between our sorry reality and the glad, grateful recognition of the incarnation that is the mainstay of faith? We might begin by acknowledging that if we have neglected the spiritual call of Advent for yet another year and have allowed ourselves to become thoroughly frazzled by December 24th, all is not lost. We are, in fact, in very good shape for Christmas. It is precisely because we are weary and poor in spirit that God can touch us with hope. This is not an easy truth. It means that we accept our common lot and take up our share of the cross. It means that we do not gloss over the evils we confront every day, both within ourselves and without. Our sacrifices may be great, but as the martyred Archbishop of El Salvador, Oscar Romero, once said, it is only the poor and hungry, those who know they need someone to come on their behalf, who can celebrate Christmas. At Christmas, we are asked to acknowledge that the world we have made is in darkness. We are asked to be attentive and keep vigil for the light of Christ. We and our world are broken. Even our homes have become places of physical and psychological violence. It is only God through Jesus Christ who can make us whole again. End of quote. Thank you all for not jumping up and running out of the room to hear a meditation from such a Christian writer. Clearly, we as you use do not believe it is only God through Jesus Christ who can make us whole again. Just this last weekend, I had this conversation with a UU atheist on Hilton Head Island. I said, there are people who find what we're looking for through the God they find in Jesus Christ. The whole of Christianity is not a failure, as also can be said of Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, Jainism, Hinduism, atheism, and agnosticism. All religion fails when it is unkind. All religion succeeds when it is kind. The Dalai Lama was asked, what is the one true religion? And he said, whatever religion makes you kind. That sounds too easy, doesn't it? Kindness. How in the world can kindness, compassion, empathy, justice, love, how can these gentle paths hold the entire path? And if they do, why in the world did dozens of religions have to come into being and do battle with each other, fight wars with each other? If kindness is the true path, how have so many kind and gentle people been slaughtered through history? How have so many kind and gentle people been ripped off by con artists, vandalized by family members who were mentally ill or addicted to drugs or both? How has the randomness of disease been allowed to slay children and leave old cranky meanies to live well into their 90s and some well past 100? If gentle kindness is ultimate, at the core of the teachings of all religions and the basic good hearts of atheists and agnostics, why in the Sam Hill doesn't it work better? I don't know the answer to those tough questions, but I know what I believe. Like Elvis Presley, I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. I believe that those presents under that tree yesterday were brought by a man in a sleigh drawn by 8 tiny reindeer. Like Tom T. Hall, I love little baby ducks and old pickup trucks. And like Frank Sinatra, I believe that little old ant can move a rubber tree plant because he's got high hopes, high apple pie in the sky hopes. And like Anne Lamott, who says that everything will work again if you unplug it for a few minutes. And that includes us. Christmas is a time of almost unlimited challenge and confusion. Do I go here or do I go there? Is this gift too much or not enough? Have I done enough? Have I been enough? Did I disappoint anybody? If I wasn't enough, can I make it up next year? Let me close with a favorite gift-giving story. Unfortunately, it's not about Christmas, but it's close. In rural Kansas, roughly 150 years ago, a little girl grew up in a boarding house. Her single mother was very poor and had simply never mentioned her birthday because she had nothing with which to buy her gifts and no way to make her a cake. One traveling salesman often stayed in the boarding house, and he asked the little girl when her birthday is. Her mother pulled the man aside and said she doesn't know what a birthday is. We've never celebrated her birthday. She's never gotten birthday presents. A few weeks later, the mother told the salesman that it was indeed the little girl's birthday. Today is her birthday. So the salesman called the little girl to his side. First he asked the mama, is it okay if she walks to the store? And the mama said, yes, she can walk to the store. So at the dinner table, the salesman called the little girl to his side and he said, I understand you have never gotten birthday presents, but I understand from your mama that today is your birthday. Here is $8. Go to town, go to the store, and get birthday presents. presents. A couple of hours later, and $8 in the 1800s, was a bunch of money. A couple of hours later, she returned with a pouch of tobacco for the salesman, with a necklace for her mother, and a music box for one of the other boarders in the boarding house. She did not understand that getting birthday presents applied to her, not other people. Wouldn't it be an interesting world if we all used our birthdays to get presents for other people? Gift giving can be such a wild and crazy making experience. Maybe this little girl got it right. So there you go. Loving kindness beats meanness and stinginess all to pieces. So many of the things that we have faith in fall apart. Loving kindness is lasting and true. Loving kindness may even be the last word, the ultimate word, in a world that is crazy with so many other priorities. Beautiful.
Ooh, if you don't feel blessed, you're not paying attention. Mercy. This fellowship is important to us all. The contributions we make today allow us to sustain and grow our congregation and to reach out to our community, both nearby and into the larger world. Your giving affirms our commitment to each other and to the community. And also, if you have your pledge letters, this is a good place for it. With grateful hearts, we receive these gifts. May they encourage us to live lives of integrity, compassion, and peace. Please look at the announcements in your order of service. The board will meet this week to discuss whether January will be in-person gathering or virtual services. Please read your newsletter next week for an update. We have a little bit of a dilemma, people, when we met last month, I guess, to talk about whether we would meet. We set a metric, and the metric was a positivity rate of 5%. Well, we're way beyond that now. So either we have to change our metrics or we're going to have to go back to meeting virtually. So these are tough decisions, folks. If we do meet virtually, it will be short-lived, I hope. I really hope, because I just love being here. You know, this helps me to be here with you folks, and I trust you feel something similarly. Anyway, stay tuned. Also, the board is going to discuss fundraising plans that were teased in the newsletter last week. In January 16th, there will be Unitarian-led vigils against gun violence across North Carolina. I don't have a lot of details about this. I've contacted the person in charge of it all to get details, and I'm hoping we can do something, because gun violence is just out of control. There's, you know, I could talk for a while about this, but anyway, if we can have a vigil, we will have a vigil. Let's see, more news. There is going to be another card writing campaign. Some of you participated during the last election, and I thought it was very effective, and we enjoyed participating in that. And if you are interested in participating, contact Sandy McFeely. And Sandy, I will volunteer, so I'm signing up right now. It's very important work. Our closing song today is Blue Boat Home, and it's 1064 in the Teal Hymn Book. Please stand if you're willing and able. I found the motion standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge and wonder, casting questions to the deep. Drifting here with my ship's companions, all weak and pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms,
never harbor or port I own. Wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
You may be seated. Our closing words come from three sources, the first of which is Tiny Tim. May God bless us, everyone. The second is the beloved Clement Moore, who said, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. And our third source is Betsy Hampton, who I just met a few minutes ago, and she said to me at 89 years old, suffering from a tumor on her spinal cord, she said, when I found Unitarian Universalism, I knew I was home.
Amen. I concur and agree and can say the same about myself. I will extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we meet again. As Dr. Ed Boy reminded us, let your little light shine. Be the light, people. Go now in peace. Namaste. Shalom. Blessed be. I love you, people.
We love you, Jim.